Welcome to this week's episode of Automotive Weekly, and today we're going to be putting some lowering springs on my Mini Cooper. This is my 2015 Mini Cooper. It's been a great daily driver, but there's always been this wheel gap that's just bugged me. So I ordered some lowering springs that should help get rid of that problem while maintaining the classic Mini rake or stance. Before we lifted the Mini up, we went ahead and loosened the lug nuts with a breaker bar and a 17mm socket. We found that we didn't have a floor jack that would fit the Mini's lift points, so we borrowed the jack from Taylor's FRS to get the car high enough to put a floor jack with a board underneath the side of the car.
Once we got the car in the air, we threw some jack stands underneath for safety and took the wheels off.
Let me do the fun thing.
You get to do the front. We have plenty of tires to do.
Put me in, coach. Done.
We decided to start with the front, since it was going to be more complicated than the rear.
We then removed the bolts for the sway bar link and the lower pinch bolt for the strut.
Hold that there.
If not, again, I'm not doing anything. Like I haven't felt any tension. Feel the tension. After we loosened the top, we started the process of pulling out the coil, which ended up being a bit more complicated than we thought.
So, like, you can kind of go like that.
Yeah.
Or you can just...
The video I was watching seemed like you took him out.
Yeah. Eventually we did get it out, and then we realized we didn't have a spring compressor. Once we picked that up, we started the process of pulling the spring off of the assembly.
That's gonna be really creepy.
I think I'm funnier than I actually am. It's fine. Once we fixed the backwards pin, we got back to work.
Remember to wear gloves. Taylor wrote this. He likes shop gloves.
Compress.
Yeah, I was gonna say, could you compress it a little more?
Oh yeah, we can. I'm just
okay.
not gonna do that without.
Yeah, good call.
I like to retain my fingies.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I said fingies.
There's a special tool that helps get the bolt off the top of the strut that we were not able to source on a short notice. So we had to rig one up with a socket and a pair of vice grips. Golly, man.
So, I'm riding solo. Sorry, that was low. Anyway. Pretty sure that's something about grinding the club, if I'm thinking correctly.
I don't understand what that means. Can you show that for the camera?
Nope.
Once we got the spring put in and the bolt on top of the strut torqued to spec, we then started putting the whole unit back in.
Got it. It ended up being a bit challenging to get the strut back into the lower part of the suspension, but with a little elbow grease and lifting, we got it to go back in. From there, we put it all back together, torqued everything to spec, and moved to the back, which was way easier.
We undid the lower part of the strut, loosened the sway bar, and then slid the spring out. Way easier.
With the new spring in, the sway bar reattached and the strut bolt put back in, we torqued everything to spec and put the wheels back on. Now, a couple weeks later, after letting the spring settle, it looks something like this. Now it has a subtle drop of 1.25 inches, and I think it looks great. It doesn't need to be super aggressively stanced because it's my daily. Overall, I like it a lot, and I'm excited to move to the next step.
Thanks for watching us put the lowering springs on the Mini. Now, if you haven't done this already, go ahead and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And remember, we have new videos coming out every single week, so be sure to stay tuned. Thanks. I hate the word that I said thanks, but that's okay. We're gonna roll with it. Nailed it. Bye.
I like it.
Let's just do that.